everybody? Welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to give you my review of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, this show has been anticipated, most anticipated, some would say. Ewan McGregor coming back to play Obi-Wan Kenobi, the single best thing about the prequels. Like, I've talked before many times in the past about how I've always been kind of upset by the fact that people are trying to retroactively say that the prequels are good when they're not. The prequels are not very good movies. The only one that's remotely even close to being good is Revenge of the Sith. And that's because it has the best lightsaber battle. That's because, like on a technical level, Revenge of the Sith is everything George Lucas was trying to do in Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I think Attack of the Clones is just outright boring as all hell. And Phantom Menace, outside of the final battle with Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan, isn't that much more entertaining either. Those movies are fun and entertaining if you are a hardcore Star Wars fan. But if you're just a normal person, like ordinary normal person, just going to watch a movie to have a good time, they ain't it. But I digress. The one thing that I remember distinctly, even as a child watching those prequel movies, was saying, who is this Obi-Wan guy? Because I'm one of the people who watched the prequels before I watched the originals. So I didn't know this. I didn't know that Ewan McGregor was playing a younger version of an Obi-Wan. I didn't know all this was like, I didn't know all these things. So me watching this, Ewan McGregor is my Obi-Wan. I know some people talk about, I can't remember that name of the actor who played Obi-Wan in the, in A New Hope. But like, he is my Obi-Wan. He is the Obi-Wan I grew up with. He is the one that I recognize. And I remember being like, because especially amongst the Jedis, Obi-Wan just being a more... he was mostly the exact kind... Like, if I always like to do this, you know, whenever there's like things like this, like Jedi or something of that nature, I always in my brain go, well, which one of these characters would I be most like? And Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan Kenobi was the Jedi that I felt like I would be most like, or I would aim to be most like, because while he can be serious and take things serious, he can be light. He can have, because some Jedis are really strict and really, you know, but he can be light. He can have fun. He can talk. He has friends. He has friends, and you find out in the Clone Wars, in the Clone Wars animated series, he had a lover. He had a lover. He had friends. He has all these, but it never overtook him. Somehow, some way, he had lovers. He had friends. He can laugh. But it never got to a dark place with him. Even when he watched the love of his life stabbed to death in front of him, it never took it that direction, because he always kept his mind on. He always knew what was important. And I loved Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor in particular. He was the single best thing about those prequels. I love watching him in general. So when you hear, like for years, rumors about this show, rumors about doing an Obi-Wan project, getting Ewan McGregor to come back. And finally they got it announced, and finally it is here today. I'm going to review the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, the Obi-Wan Kenobi takes place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. It's about 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. It's hard to tell, but I would probably say sometime before Rebels as well. Like, not like it's sometime before Rebels. Let's put it that way. Sometime. Because Rebels takes place because by the time Rebels goes down, sometimes before the first seasons of Rebels. How about that? Sometime before the first season of Rebels. Maybe it's happening at the same time. It's really hard to tell, really. It's been a long time. It's been a while since I've seen Rebels. But either way, it definitely takes place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. And Obi-Wan he's on Tatooine, staying close by Luke. Now, we know this. That's what he ends up doing, because, you know, if you ever watched the original, you know, A New Hope, you know that he's stuck close by Luke for this very purpose. But there was a lot of wiggle room there, because I remember a lot of people when they announced they were going to do this, and including myself, like if you watch the original, the way they framed it was like Obi-Wan, essentially after all the events or whatever happened, just sat in a cave for like 20 years looking over Luke, just contently sat in a cave. And now this one, and now the show Obi-Wan is basically going, no, he didn't just sit in the cave. Clearly, like someone like Obi-Wan would have gotten out and done things, and he wouldn't have brought it back home to. So there is a bit of a wiggle room. Now, granted, you know that it can't go but so far. You know Obi-Wan's not gonna die. You know Luke is never gonna be in any true danger because clearly the events have to play out the way they do. But there's wiggle room to introduce characters and to say that Obi-Wan didn't just sit in a cave for 20 years. There was shit he did in between. Stuff he did in between those 20 years and the interactions he had while he was, on Tatooine and leaving Tatooine. Now, I would say that so far in the first 2 episodes, the tone of the show, to me personally, is essentially, and I mean this in a amazingly great way, because I loved it when they did it in this, is the first hour of Avengers Endgame. The first hour of Avengers Endgame was so zoned in. Some people weren't huge fans of it. I loved it. I thought it was great. But it's so zoned in on what it's like to fail. And these heroes and these people sitting on their failure, how do you recover from fucking up so bad? You know what I mean? How do you deal with that? And in Avengers Endgame, you just see them all dealing with it in different ways. But that's where this show's tone is, because it's a lot of Obi-Wan. It's a lot of sitting with Obi-Wan. And, really just great character stuff from Ian McGregor, of just him, conflicted. Things he doesn't want, conflicted, defeated, just beat down. This is not the same Obi-Wan. This is a man who hasn't fought in 10 years, and it's something that shows up in episode 2 in particular when he has to fight. This is a man who's sort of given up on trying when a fellow Jedi asks him for help and he does nothing. And that Jedi ends up getting killed. This is a man who is kind of, like I said, he's kind of defeated when an old friend comes to him and asks him for assistance. And his friend basically had to damn near beat him over the head, verbally beat him over the head to get him to help him. This is a man he's been through some shit, and they really do a good job of getting that over. Obi-Wan is depressed. He has seen some shit. He has failed. He has, the weight of, not only did I let my master down, I let the entire Jedi Order down, I somehow didn't see my own little brother my own Padawan / little brother going down this dark path. How didn't I see that coming? All of these thoughts are just swirling through his brain, and it's beating him to the ground. And you get the feeling, at least I do, particularly near the end of the second episode, that the show is mainly gonna be focused on building him back up again. Where he's not gonna building him back up again to where he's come to terms with with the past, and he's okay with it, so that he's in the mindset to give Luke the advice that he's going to give him to help and guide Luke later on when the original movies come out. But right now he is not in that mental space to do something like that. And it is very interesting to see someone who is so wise, so charming, particularly Ewan McGregor's version. You see him at his lowest. You know what I mean? It'd be like watching this. It'd be like seeing it'd be like if there was a show that had a Gandalf. Let's just say Gandalf. I'm just pointing out a wise character. Wise character. It'd be like watching a show and you see Gandalf, and Gandalf is like he's not Gandalf yet, and he's down on his luck, and he's lost his smile. He's lost his spark. And he'll get it back, but you're like, man, he doesn't have it right now. And that's what you feel like. You're just like, man, he doesn't have the spark right now. And mainly, so with the Obi-Wan story is clearly focused on him dealing with that. But there are also a lot of other things going on. For instance, there is a new character. The Inquisitors have been introduced. It's 10 years later, so of course the Inquisitors have been introduced. In case you don't know who Inquisitors are, when fucking good old Palpatine made his whole Order 66 move and executed all the Jedi, he didn't kill all the Jedi. Some of them he turned into Inquisitors. people who are Jedi who have either he turned the Jedi like the small fry Jedis into Inquisitors to hunt other Jedi. Yes, he turned other Jedi to hunt other Jedi. They're called Inquisitors. They wear they wear all these black gears. They usually have painted up faces depending on who they are. Yeah, Inquisitors. You know, they got all these weird names like the second sister, third sister, something brother. They got all these weird names. But the Inquisitors are pretty badass because like they were introduced in Rebels, and they're like, to be honest though, half the reason the Inquisitors were introduced were to get those wild ass lightsabers that you see in fucking kids in the store today. Like there's one that fucking spins and shit, and all these crazy ass lightsabers you've seen. The Inquisitors are the one who introduced those things. But yeah, so Inquisitors, this is the first live screen adaptation of the Inquisitors, by the way. So another animated to live screen thing by Dave Filoni. Good on you. But one in particular Inquisitor named Reva, which it is awesome to see a black woman as a villain in something. Like, I don't mean to get all racial, but that is something you don't see. Like, you want to see something you don't see very often. A black woman as the main antagonist in something. I mean, I can't even think what, like, Amanda Waller in, like, the Suicide Squad? But she wasn't even the main antagonist, you know what I mean? Like, but that's a rarity. Like, that is something you just don't see that often. Even if they have a woman be the main antagonist, it's usually not a black woman. But and it's weird too, because like, you know, for so long in Star Wars, the only black dude in the universe was Lando. So it's so weird. So sometimes when I see somebody black, like I didn't ever put this out in Mandalorian and stuff, but I don't know why. It's just like just blopped into my head, and I was like, wow, and. But either way, Reva seems to have a hard-on on catching Obi-Wan. And we discover in episode 2 why. Because for the first episode, she is like real gung-ho on hunting on Obi-Wan. The rest of the Inquisitors is like, let's just hunt any Jedi we can get. You know, all the big Jedi we've killed already. Obi-Wan is the white whale. We'll probably never find Obi-Wan. You know, he'll just die. Let's not even worry about that. But she's really got a hard-on on catching him. And we really don't know why she's got a hard-on catching him. We find out the reason she's so... Because at first we think she's trying to catch him just to get the credit. Which is true. She does want to get credit for catching him. Catching the great Obi-Wan. Basically the greatest remaining Jedi out there. Now, they don't know that Yoda is still alive. They don't know Yoda's still alive. But they know Obi-Wan is. That's the only one they know is still alive. Because Anakin saw him leave. But yeah. But it turns out she seemingly, at least from what I'm feeling, has a close relationship with Darth Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker. And she really wants to get Obi-Wan for him. Like, the vibe you get is that they've talked about this, that she was underneath Darth Vader, and like she is like, I want Obi-Wan. Like he wants Obi-Wan. I want to get Obi-Wan for him. I want to get Obi-Wan for my mentor, for Vader. And that's why she's so gung-ho. We also get a very well casted little 10-year-old Leia, and I thought this 10-year-old did such a good job as Leia. Like, I always say Leia. She did such a good, because you can both, sometimes, most of the time, when they cast a young actor to play like a younger version of another character that we know, it always comes off a bit weird. Either A, it comes off like there's no way that this little kid grows up to be him and you don't even buy it, or B, they try to push it too hard and you're just like, we get it, it's a little kid version of him, we get it. But I thought this little kid actress did a good job of pushing the idea that not only was Leia adventurous at a very young age, not only did she have a mind of her own she was very smart, and she was so wise beyond her years. I mean, some of the shit she says in the show, particularly to Obi-Wan and to a kid and her cousin, you're just like, dude, like, you're a 10-year-old. You shouldn't be able to just read people the way she can. But she can just read people. I mean, she read Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan was like, are you sure you're 10? You know? And there are girls like that. There are kids like that. I know that there are kids like that in real life. So it's not too much over the top. Because it's like, yeah, there are kids who just, they get it, dude. Like, they're like, they're ahead of their curve, you know, in terms of their maturity level, and she's definitely that. Honestly, like, it's hard to believe that her and Luke are the same age. I don't know if it's because of the actors they cast, but Luke just looks so like a little kid, and she just doesn't feel like a little kid at all, which maybe was done on purpose, you know, but, like, I just think that's very fascinating. But she's good. She's really, really good. I don't really want to get into too many other things. I'll get into spoilers, but this, so far, so good. So far, so good. I'm enjoying the fuck out of this. It's the most focused of any of the Star Wars shows outside of The Mandalorian. I gave the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan together a 9 out of 10. Loved it. Had a blast with it. Ewan McGregor is killing it. It's really a character study. And it's fun to see certain other aspects of the Star Wars universe explored as well. Good to see Uncle Owen. Anything more would be a spoiler. Anyway, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.